NBC 26 live at 5. Good evening. I'm Cassandra Duvall. A shakeup in Wisconsin politics. Our big story at 5. A prime suspect has been named in a nearly 24-year-old murder case in Fond du Lac County. Thank you, Cameron. It is our big story at 5. Hackers stealing information from another retailer. Deputies in Shawano County say there is a man impersonating police officers. No, but it's okay because Wisconsin's there now.
Hopefully Wisconsin will knock them off and you will save yourself from an SEC final.
Oshkosh police say their city is experiencing some widespread flooding. More political changes, this time in Madison, as Republican State Senate President Mike Ellis also decides not to run this fall. Well, that looks good. Well, we are getting some beautiful pictures from viewers with I Contribute at NBC. The Green Bay Police Department is using mass advertising to find a person of interest in a shooting investigation.
Like that, and it was just
so it's not in his way. It's not obstructing his view of any plays or anything like that.
Former Indiana basketball star.
He's not going to miss any travels or double dribbles, anything like that. No. Another member of the Wisconsin Assembly says he won't seek re-election this fall. Representative, the Brown County Tavern League works with bars and restaurants to make sure that people do have a safe ride to get home. My husband is waiting. Okay. He's got his clubs. No, he's waiting at the door.
I'm abnormal, but everybody's waiting to get on the shorts and go out there and play.
Absolutely. Well, a little bit longer maybe. Here are your top stories tonight. Cold case break. Deputies in Fond du Lac County say they have evidence leading to a suspect in the 1990 murder of Barrett Breck. And Governor Walker signs a package of heroin legislation aiming to save lives in Wisconsin. Plus, officials are calling it a promising lead as searchers are trying to determine whether signals picked up in the Indian Ocean are from missing Flight 370. We'll get to those stories and more right after our first forecast. Chief Meteorologist Cameron Moreland joins us now. Cameron, felt a little bit like spring out there today. Yeah. Cameron, now on to our big story at 5. A prime suspect has been named in a nearly 24-year-old murder case in Fond du Lac County. 18-year-old Barrett Breck disappeared on July 17, 1990. Her van was found in a Fond du Lac parking lot 2 days later, and about 5.5 weeks later, her body was discovered in a ditch in Waupun. NBC 26's Paul Evenson joins us live in the newsroom. Thank you, Paul. And Barrett Breck's parents talk about the new developments in their daughter's case. They spoke by phone saying they were told about the new evidence, and they've been waiting for this.
How could you
like to see the full interview with the Fond du Lac County Sheriff's deputies from today's news conference? Just go to our website, NBC26.com. And there's also a new break in a Racine County cold case as well. An arrest has been made in connection with the 1997 murder of 14-year-old Amber Creek. The Illinois girl's body was found in Burlington, and the Racine County Sheriff's Office is set to release more information on this cold case tomorrow. We're following a developing story live at 5. Investigators say the rampage that left 3 dead and 16 hurt last week at Fort Hood was related to the shooter's request for a leave from the Army post. A spokesperson said the shooting spree covered the equivalent of 2 city blocks as Yvonne Lopez drove across the base randomly firing. According to authorities, Lopez also had a verbal argument with other soldiers. Another developing story tonight, Americans running a high-tech sonar a mile or more beneath the Indian Ocean, still searching for the missing Flight 370's black boxes. Now the ship and U.S. sonar crews are working around the clock for this search. Governor Scott Walker in Marinette today signing into law new bills to fight what he calls a heroin epidemic. Protection from law enforcement for someone reporting an overdose, more treatment options for addicts in rural areas, and drug court. Now that's all in the works for Northeast Wisconsin. NBC. Over the next 3 days, Marinette County leaders will go through training to figure out how to help drug offenders beat their addiction through county programs like drug court instead of jail time. Well, this week is the 15th annual National Work Zone Awareness Week, and state leaders are using the slogan, Work Zone Speeding, a costly mistake for this year. Still ahead on NBC 26 live at 5. It's our big story at 10. The Badgers are in the Final Four, and tonight the team returns home to Wisconsin. Thousands of fans welcome the team back to the Kohl Center, and this will be the Badgers' first Final Four appearance since 2000. Wisconsin rallied their way through the game in the 64-63 win over Arizona last night, and the team will turn their focus now to North Texas, where they'll try to win their first national championship since 1941. NBC 26's Dan Koob joins. Thanks, Dan. And after the game, thousands of students rushed onto State Street in Madison to celebrate. Police say there were no arrests or injuries, and there doesn't appear to be any property damage. Students climbed onto trees and hung from windows, and more than a dozen members of the Wisconsin marching band played to the crowd. However, it was a very different story in Arizona. After the Wildcats lost, students took to the streets of Tucson, and so did police in riot gear. Crowds poured out of bars and restaurants near the university. The gathering was peaceful at first, but then the fans started throwing objects at police like cans, bottles, and fireworks. 15 people were arrested for misdemeanors. 3 of them had some minor injuries. Well, the team getting some more support from the game from quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers tweeted on Wisconsin Final Four and Bo Ryan. He was also in the locker room after the victory. Bronson Koenig posted this picture with Rodgers saying, "Me and the man." We'll play again until next Saturday, April 5th. They will be facing off against Kentucky, and NBC 26 will have complete coverage on that. Well, tomorrow we learned more information about an investigation involving internet crimes against children. According to the Brown County Sheriff's Department, they conducted a large-scale task force last week through the online investigation of targeting child predators. Deputies haven't released any more information, only stating a press conference will be held on Monday. Well, the nice weather today bringing lots of families outside at Voyager Park in De Pere. Many kids were out at the playground, and there were even more people on the banks fishing. De Pere residents said they are so ready to end winter and finally get some spring-like temperatures. Thank you, Fish. Well, today's warm-up may have been welcomed by many, but the stronger sun is causing ice along the shore on Lake Winnebago to rapidly deteriorate. And that has some anglers scrambling to get themselves and their equipment off the ice safely. NBC 26's Paul. Covering Wisconsin live at 10, the mayor of Wisconsin Rapids is under scrutiny for posting a photo of his election ballot on social media. The county DA is even bringing in a special prosecutor to determine if the mayor will face charges under a law that predates the internet itself. Now, the mayor has taken the photo off of Facebook, and he says he didn't realize he was breaking the law and that he's learned his lesson. Now it's up to that special prosecutor if he'll be charged or not. Well, the president of the state Senate says that State Representative Bill Kramer should be forced out of the assembly if the Waukesha Republican is found guilty of pending sexual assault charges. Republican Senate President Mike Ellis said Saturday that Kramer's conduct is, quote, a black eye to Republicans in both chambers. Kramer was charged Friday with sexually assaulting a political aide 3 years ago. Several possible GOP presidential candidates, including Governor Scott Walker, were in Las Vegas this weekend. Along with Walker was also Governor Chris Christie of New Jersey. They headlined the annual Republican Jewish Coalition spring meeting on Saturday, and both speakers touted their success at the state level and addressed topics from fiscal responsibility all the way to foreign policy. The conference wrapped up today. Still ahead here on NBC 26 Live at 10, people come together to enjoy music, but it means more. How children battling the toughest diseases are getting some help.